I'll make sure he gets it. Okay. With contrast and feeling, our guidance system, there are many health issues in the world. It could be said that there's a major cause of interest in that area, and every single person is born with a natural gift. Is it possible that each person's gift is particularly useful in resolving individual health issues?
Well, you could say that there is a universal vortex, and so everything that everybody is living is going into that universal vortex. But individuals are creating their own reality, and any time that you start trying to make everything a big collective issue, that's when you get all balled up, because then you feel like you need to get the cooperation of the others and what they're about involved, and that will never happen. So if you can just separate yourself from what you think everybody else is living and what everybody else is wanting, and just focus upon the things that your own life produces for you, and then teach through the clarity of example how easy it is and how comfortable it is to get what you want, then through your example others may follow.
I'm not sure if that quite answers my question, because I'm aware of a process that finds a person's natural gift that they were born with. So
But that implies that you made all of the decisions about this experience before you got here, and that's just not true. Your natural gift, if you want us to identify something singular like that, your natural gift is alignment.
Oh, so that would be a no, then, that if they have this gift, that they might create...
Everyone's born with it and utilize it in varying degrees.
And so they could get whatever health issue, but it doesn't necessarily relate to a contrast that they intended.
You're making it so much more complicated than it needs to be.
I do that. Okay, this question, would you consider letting me interview you?
You just did.
Okay.
Maybe. That's a question for Esther's scheduling.
Okay, well,
and she's really busy having a lot of fun.
Okay, well, I can send you information.
If you promise fun,
oh, absolutely,
then she might consider it.
Yeah, because I've done some things around similar to what you have done, but I've called it different things. Like I've called it law of success around we create our own reality. That we're powerful and we create.
Good title.
Yeah.
Law of success, and law of success meaning law of being happy, law of joy. What's next? See the clock. Have you ever read these questions before?
Yes. I just wanted to see if you already answered them, right? So that we don't have to. We can be.
Everyone in this room could have answered all of these questions today. That's how tuned in they are.
Okay, in terms of being, doing, and having, and the ultimate contrast of wanting everything and not wanting anything from each of those areas, I arrived at this it's kind of like an awesome feeling, where my resistance disappeared, where total interest from authorities for my contribution went from hooking me, like I had a lot of disinterest from all sorts of areas, to me being perfectly okay with it. Can you comment on that? Or?
Did anybody follow that in any way, shape, or form? And the reason is because you're not set up to comprehend everything at once. Life comes to you a subject at a time and an experience at a time, and you put it in your vortex, and then it evolves and it becomes more, and then you come into alignment, and then you're guided to it. In other words, it's trying to consider too much at once. And many of the things, we'll just say to you simply, many of the things sort of contradict other things, so there's no clarity that can come out of that.
Okay. What that was about is I've actually tried to make contributions, like to medicine or mental health with other organizations, and I got from what you said before about people not being interested at all. That helped.
What's really happening is, this is a wonderful way to wrap this up too, because it's what we've been sort of going for all day, and this is a really good demonstration of that. So in any moment in time, you have some relationship with your true power. You sort of understand that, yes? With your relationship with your vortex, you're in some degree of receptivity, some degree of being in the receiving mode. It varies, and more you work to make sure that you're in the receptive mode. You meditate more and you make lists of positive aspects, and most of all, you become aware of if this is satisfying or if it's not. So what happens to you once you've accomplished that, and it won't take you more than a week or so to really get that figured out for yourself, that this felt satisfying and that not so much, and this feels even more satisfying and that not so much, so that you encourage law of attraction to respond to the more satisfying feelings. Then most of your response, most of your impulse, most of the things that you decide to do, most of that feeling of I'm going to donate to this, or I'm going to contribute my time to this, or I'm going to go participate with this, those impulses come then because you're in the receptive mode, which means source has guided you to slam dunk after slam dunk after slam dunk, because you have asked source knows what you're asking for, source knows even more clearly than you do exactly what you want, and now you're in the receiving mode. The impulse you receive will really have good payoffs that will be obvious to you as you move along, and they will parlay into more and more and more and more and more. But if you are under the influence of a problem, or under the influence of seeking something that you haven't found, and from that influence you are inspired to give, now it just sort of peters out. It's a bottomless pit. Enough people can't give enough because they're contributing to the vibration of the problem rather than to the vibration of the solution. That was really big. That's really big.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, it's like I get an idea to contribute and I just go wham.
But before you go wham, ask yourself the question, what am I under the influence of? Is this a satisfying feeling? Am I moving toward solution? It's this simple. Does this feel like it was an inspiration from source energy? Or is it an inspiration from somebody who's... Esther makes this decision almost every day as she's driving around whatever city she's in, and there are people standing on the street, often with a sign, wanting money. And Esther has reached the place where she can feel what receptive mode she's in when she offers it. Because sometimes, even with something that seems like it's all the same, there are variances even in that. Some of them are just going to go get more drugs right now. Some of them really want a sandwich. And Esther can feel which is which. Do you see what we're getting at? Every question you ask has a source energy answer involved. Yeah. We're getting overtime here, so if you've got something clear on your mind, we'll hear it from you.
I'll just give the rest of these, and you can look at them. If you want to do something about them, you can. I'll just give them to, and if you get time, we
have enjoyed our time with all of you immensely here today. We have enjoyed the vibrational wings that you flew in on, and the difference in your point of attraction. That's what we are most interested about. We can feel that your awareness of yourself shifted a little bit today, and that in your awareness of yourself shifting, you've come more into vibrational alignment with your inner being's awareness of you. And that's a big deal, because your inner being has been focused with you, flowing with you, thinking about you, listening to you, and offering impulses and suggestions and soothing for as long as you've been in this physical body. But the difference that has happened today is that you have comprehended what your awareness of your inner being means. And most important, you now have a definitive way of measuring moment by moment whether you are in alignment with that or not, which means we haven't projected these vibrations to Esther before, so give her a moment to find the analogy or the words, which means that the leverage that we've been talking about the leverage of non-physical alignment that we've been talking about is so much more pronounced now than it has been before, that you can expect, you use a word quantum leap, and we've never encouraged it, but you can expect meaningful advances on things that matter most to you in a way that you have not experienced before. In other words, this is a time that we want to encourage your heightened expectation, but not to the point that you allow yourself disappointment. Can you feel the fine line? It's like Jerry's piping in. He's got the best analogy. He thinks it's the appropriate time for it. Put your basket out there far enough that it thrills you when you make it, but not so far that you can't make it. Good analogy. You want to do whatever you can to keep the disappointment factor down and whatever you can to keep the satisfaction factor up. It really is as simple as that. So if you've been listening to us for a while and you've been seeing us talking or heard us talking about the emotional scale, and with elation and love and appreciation all the way into that good feeling place, and depression and grief all the way in that bad feeling place, and right there smack dab in the middle of that emotional scale, if you want to take a look, it's in the Ask and It Is Given book, is satisfaction. It says contentment, but we mean the same thing by it, which means that that really is the tipping point. That really is the tipping point. So often when you think of, I'm so disappointed, well, you can't find the other end of that. There's too much diversity in the vibrational variance. Or when you think of being unhappy and you want to be happy, it's too much of a leap. But more and more, as you just ask yourself the simple question, is this thought that I'm thinking satisfying or not? And you develop an aptitude to know the difference. Then what will happen as you lean satisfying, it will pick up speed to the point that you'll be able to make this equation and this relationship in emotions within yourself. And this is what we wish for all of you. We would like you to ask, am I satisfied or am I grieving? Well, it's a lot easier for you to find satisfaction on that end of the scale than it is the things that you think are the opposite of grieving. So if you reach for satisfaction, you're going to find it. I'm either disappointed or I'm satisfied. Just let satisfaction be the whole other end of this scale just for a little while. Am I confused or am I satisfied? Just let satisfaction be what you're reaching for rather than clarity. Just satisfied. And what's going to happen to you, you're going to discover that you're having many more satisfying moments in time than you have been noticing. And by activating them, by consciously giving your attention to them, all you have to do is get into satisfaction, and you've opened yourself wholly to the current and energy of your inner being. Can you sort of get that? Which means points of clarity will begin to flow to you, and the momentum of that positive energy will come on faster than it ever has before. This is a way for you to clean up your vibrational variance. It's a way to tune yourself to the frequency of your inner being more consciously. So not only will you be improving your relationship between where you are and where you're wanting to be in terms of manifestations, you will be more joyful moment by moment by moment by moment by moment. And we just want to say that when you hang around in an attitude of satisfaction, the universe knocks itself out to show you more and more and more and more to be satisfied about. It's like sneaking in the back door. It's like making an end run around something. So as you leave here today, and we are way over time, we want to say to you, if we were standing in your physical shoes, there'd be two things that we'd be doing every day: meditating and paying attention to our satisfaction level. And then just be the witness of what you've already put in the vortex, of the work that you've already done. We've enjoyed this interaction more than any that has come before. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain stubbornly in your vortex.